Time she now qualifies for a $1,400 check. With the first two rounds of checks, it didn't matter if you were struggling to pay your own way through college as long as you were claimed as a dependent and were aged 17 to 21. No stimulus for you. Couple of catches. One, the money goes to mom and dad, not you. And two, if they earn more than $160,000 a year combined, you still won't qualify.
Everybody, Joe Biden is taking action for the people. He's urging that companies lower the prices for everyday necessities. He also said that for gas and groceries, things need to be cheaper. So, President Biden also is trying to pursue higher taxes on oil companies and their profits, as if the industry giants do not work to cut gas prices. Joe Biden has criticized oil companies that have made record high profits. It comes as consumers struggle to keep up with high gas prices. According to AAA, today the price of a gallon of gas was $3.76, down from a record of over $5 in June, but still higher than a year ago. And when asked about the gas companies, Biden said it's time for these companies to stop their profiteering. If they don't, they're going to pay a higher tax on their excess profits. And right before Election Day, everybody, the White House messaged that it's focused on how Democrats are going to improve the economy and Republicans will make it worse. Inflation and the economy consistently rank at a top issue for voters, and higher gas prices stretch consumer budgets for much of the year. Any new taxes on oil profits would need congressional approval, which may prove difficult as Democrats control both chambers of Congress by slim margins. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren also previously floated the idea. The Republicans, who generally support lower taxes, hope to win back one or both chambers in Congress as of the November 8th midterms. Shell also made $9.5 billion in profits in the third quarter, almost double what it made the same period last year. Exxon profits in the third quarter made $18 billion, and that nearly tripled what Exxon made last year, and the most in its year history. And now Biden has made pleas to the oil companies to increase production rather than to enrich shareholders in recent weeks as the price of gas remains high. Now early this month though, President Biden announced that the release of 15 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve will inflect inflation. Biden promised in his speech earlier today to purchase oil to refill the reserve once the price hits $70 a barrel. He said companies should therefore invest now and increase production with the confidence that the government will pursue and purchase the oil later. AAA reported today that gas prices in the state of Florida fell last week and are set to rise this week when the state gas tax holiday increases again. The tax holiday has allowed drivers in Florida to fill up their tanks without paying the state's 25 cents a gallon of tax. The holiday, part of a broad tax package approved this year by lawmakers in DeSantis, started October. Now, when the state sales tax holiday was implemented at the beginning of the month, gas prices declined in total of 22 cents within a couple of days. But the savings for drivers didn't last long. In a recent news release, AAA reported that during the first week of October, OPEC announced plans to cut its oil production rate, which sparked a 17% oil price hike, raising the cost of producing gas and ultimately dragged Floridians' gas prices back to where they were. Chicago motorists also speaking out after the OPEC announced its
1% inflation rate, that the cost of living increase for next year for Social Security beneficiaries would be 10.5%. If so, that would be a record high. What that means in practice is that the average check would go up by about $175 a month to a monthly amount of $1,668. But there are some wild cards to this.
So guys, economists are now warning lawmakers of a recession, which may lead everybody to rising poverty in many unemployment states. Now, the IRS has just released new details on the next batch of checks that they're sending out, and right now, thousands of dollars can be claimed by many low-income households. But there's a deadline to receive the stimulus check, so be sure to continue watching this video because we get into more important information about the stimulus payments. Like this: if you receive a letter from the IRS, don't ignore it. According to CNBC, you could be one of 9 million people who the tax agency says can still claim thousands of dollars in stimulus and the child tax credit payments. You have to act quick. The IRS said it began mailing letters in October to reach millions of people who haven't claimed benefits like the stimulus checks, earned income tax credit, and the child tax credit. And according to the agency, people who are eligible only have until November 17th to claim the money. During the massive stimulus effort to help keep households afloat and financially afloat during the crisis, the IRS relied on tax returns, everybody, to determine eligibility as well as where to send the payments, as tax returns include bank account information or home address for mailing the checks. But about 9 million Americans have yet to claim the stimulus funds because they just didn't know and filed a 2021 tax return. The letters will let people know that they may be eligible and how to claim the money. The IRS said the 9 million people who were identified by the Treasurer's Office of Tax Analysis are those who are not required to file taxes because they have very low incomes. Single taxpayers under 65 years of old typically don't have to file a tax return if they earn less than $12,000 a year. So while that goes up to $14,000 for some people, the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit is the official name of the third round of payments authorized by lawmakers and is provided up to $1,400 per person, including qualifying children claimed on a tax return. Let's not forget that means a family of four could qualify for up to $5,600 in stimulus money. Under the law, the full amount is available to single taxpayers who earn less than $75,000 and married couples who earn less than $100,000.
IRS says if you're eligible and didn't get one or didn't get the full amount, you can claim something called the Recovery Rebate Credit when you file your taxes.
The Recovery Rebate Credit is a way to reconcile with the amount that you were actually owed and the amount you received, so that if there's more coming your way, you'll get it through that Recovery Rebate Credit when you file your return.
If you don't remember how much you got, check your IRS online account or check your mailbox for a letter by the IRS for this purpose. It's called Letter 6475.
If you don't fill out that worksheet, the IRS isn't going to do it for you. So you need to fill out the worksheet and make sure you put the proper numbers in there.
Our experts say if you don't ordinarily file a tax return, you should go ahead and do it. You may be able to get that stimulus payment retroactively if you missed out.
Joe Manchin is opposing President Biden's new stimulus plan, everybody, just to address the rising gas prices. Joe Manchin believes that people should receive more stimulus by the end of the year. Are you on Joe Manchin's side with this, everybody? Tell me in the comments down below if you agree with Joe Manchin, because I do. And several new batches of relief checks are being issued right now to many people all across the country. Thanks to a new budget surplus, the low-income households across the nation will actually be able to receive up to $1,000. And so now that Massachusetts has been receiving issued refund checks, direct deposits as well, from a $3 billion tax surplus, it's all thanks to a law that links the state's tax revenue to wages and salaries. And in South Carolina, taxpayers are expected to receive refunds of up to $800 by the end of the year, everybody. That's a lot of money. And they're just two of the many states issuing tax refunds and stimulus checks to help residents just deal with inflation. But folks, don't forget about this. Massachusetts lawmakers sent the long-awaited economic development bill to the governor's Baker's desk. And so, when he signs the bill, people can start receiving their tax refund checks in the mail, via direct deposit this week as well. And through a lengthy distribution process, it will span through the middle of the month through the end of next year. So it might take a while for you to receive the stimulus, but don't worry. The initial batch of refunds will be shipped out this week as the administration begins the process of returning nearly